Hey Keepers, what do you say, what do you know? This is Keeper coming at you from the garage. Well gang, I'm feeling a little bit nostalgic today, and I got my live rig set up in the garage because in the cave I really don't have the room to set the rig up like I normally would like to have it. And but I got to thinking, man, like here we are, almost 2024, and I'm thinking back to like the late 60s, like 68, 69, kind of where it all started and what I had to deal with back then, and then what I got now, it's like night and day. You know, I started off with the Hammond M3, and the very first keyboard I've ever played was my, well, it was a B3, which was my brother's, and I now own that. That was the very first keyboard. I touched that keyboard when I was 6 years old, and that's the B3 that's now in my cave. And I had that hooked up with a customized 145 Leslie. But I remember my brother bought me a Hammond M3, and then I sold that and got in a Farfisa so I could play out in the band. And I started off with the Farfisa. Did you know Farfisa backwards is a SIF rip? Remember, you heard this right on my YouTube channel. Farfisa backwards is a SIF rip. It's good information to know. And I had the organ. Then I bought a Moog satellite synthesizer, which was pretty cool. If y'all remember the Band on the Run, step inside these four walls, na-na-na-na-na-na. It did all that. It did all the sounds that was on Band on the Run. Really cool synth. Then I bought the Elka string machine. How many of you guys remember that? It was 61 key. It was beige. And then I then I got into playing the piano. My brother came home one day with a Wurlitzer 215 electric piano, and then I kind of fell in love with that. So my parents ended up buying me a Rhodes 73 suitcase, which was pretty cool. And then you know, as time went on, I got rid of the Moog satellite, and I replaced that with a Korg MS-20, and then I kept the MS-20. Then I got a Moog Prodigy, and then I got rid of the Elka string machine, and I bought the Krumar Orchestrator. How many of you guys remember those? And then my D6 clavinet, and a Korg vocoder, which is basically the same body style as the Korg MS-10, and had a microphone and a BU meter. You guys remember that? And then I remember they came out with a Korg mono poly. So it was a synthesizer. I think it was a 61 key, and then if you hit the poly button, I think you could play up to 4 notes in that. And but I didn't buy one of those, and I didn't like the idea of only playing 4 notes. But at the time, that's what they offered, and I'm firing up the crumbs. And so then, but then we got into, I'm trying to think, I own so many different stuff. One of the cool things I got was the Mirage. Remember the Mirage samplers? That was such a cool keyboard. I loved that. I remember we were at band practice, and we were doing that song "American Girl" by Tom Petty. That blah blah blah, And there's a part in the song where they go, ah, they're going, bah, 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 ah. Well, we couldn't pull it off in the band, so I got an idea. I says, hey, give me a send out of the PA mixer. And we came out of the PA and we went right into the Mirage, and I sampled that ah. And then there's another part they go, ooh, and we sampled that in there. And so when we were playing the song, we were going, ah, ah, ah. No, I just hit the key, ah, ooh. And then another thing I did vocal samples on was breakdown. Breakdown, go ahead and give it. Breakdown, the background harmonies. And so we sampled breakdown. And then on the bottom half of the Mirage, we go, breakdown, ooh, ooh. And so I had all those sampled on. That was really cool. And then, so I liked the Mirage so much, I ended up keeping the Mirage keyboard. Then I bought a Mirage rack mount module, and I had that in my rack. And then I bought the Emax 2, which I have a blast with. And but you know, it's kind of funny because with all the new gear, I look more fondly on the older stuff that I had. And there were so many cool things. Remember the M1? They came out with the M1. Well, even before the M1, they came out with the Korg DW8000. Fantastic keyboard. I just love the shit out of that. And then the M1. Then they came out with the M3R module. Then Roland came out with the U20 keyboard, which I had one of those, really cool. And then the U220 module. And during the 90s, for my grand piano, let me go back a little bit. When I went on my first tour with the Vogues, I was during the 80s. When I took, we'll get back. Let me go back. My very first poly synth that I ever owned was the Roland Juno 2. That was the Juno that had the membrane switches on it. And so I bought one of those. And then shortly after that, I bought the Korg Poly 800, which was really cool. All right. And so when I went on the roads with the Vogues, I wasn't able to take a lot of equipment with me. So I took the Wurlitzer. I had a Wurlitzer. It was one of the black ones. All right. So I had the Wurlitzer for piano, and then I had the a polyphase. I think it was called a polyphase, I would run with that. Then I had then also back in the early days, we didn't have keyboard stands. All right. So finally they came out with the keyboard stands, and I had one of those ultimate support A-frames. So I had the Wurlitzer down, and then I had the A-frame around that, and then so I had the what was it? It was made by Vox. It was the Vox organizer. So that was like the very first clone organs that actually sounded like a Hammond. And I had one of those. And in order to get the Leslie sound, I was using a flanger for the fast speed and a chorus for the slow speed, which was a pain in the ass because you had to hit both switches at the same time to go from fast to slow. So I had the Wurlitzer, and then I had the organizer sitting on top of it. Then on the A-frame, I had the Juno 2 and the Poly 800, and that's what I used with the Vogues. And also I had one other keyboard. I had the Moog Prodigy, and then what I did was I had an old cymbal stand, and then I got like a piece of wood and I put a bolt through it, and I mounted that on the cymbal stand. So I had like all my keyboards, and in the corner here I had the Moog Prodigy that I could play, so I could sit there. I could even play it like that, or back then I stand I stood when I played. I didn't sit down like I am now. But that was the rig. Then the second tour I went out with the Vogues, I wanted to have a grand piano. And so I didn't have the Mirage or anything like that then. And the Yamaha electric grand was too big to bring on the road. But I found out, I was at a music store, and Yamaha made a half rack module. All right, it only had 32 sounds in it, and I know my buddy Tom would remember that because he had one, and either he bought one or he bought the one I used to have. But it did really good grand piano in it. It also had a couple DX7 sounds in it too. But that was my first grand piano in that module. So now getting back to the Rollin and the Cork stuff, during the 90s, what I used for grand piano was the Rollin U220 module and the Korg MR3 module. And I also had an RU1 editor. The Korg module was really good for piano on the high end, and the Rollin was really good for piano on the low end. When you put both modules together, they really sounded great. And that was my grand piano all the way through the 90s. And then I played that with a Rollin A30 controller, which was 76 note and semi-weighted. And but that was a really, really cool stuff. Then they came out with the Korg X3, and that was kind of like a big game changer for me because I kind of had the best of both worlds. You know, a nice poly synth, big great organ, had aftertouch on it. You could play the Leslie, and just by pushing it harder, it would actually do the. I mean, you could play organ, and by pressing harder, it would bring the Leslie in. Really cool keyboard. And then after that came the Triton, and but. Really cool things. During the 90s, I used a whole shitload of modules. And I had the Oberheim Matrix 1000. I had the Mirage rack mount module, the Emax, the Korg and the Rollin, and I think I had something else too. And then back then they had a MIDI mixer, which I don't know why they quit making this stuff anymore, but it had 4 ins and 8 out. And basically, you had your in buttons, and like if you wanted like keyboard A to play module A, you would just press input 1 and output 1, and you're patched in. And also, if you hit the scan mode, that module would blink, and then it would stop on whatever you had hooked up. And it was great to have all these. Plus, I used I had a Rollin Axis keytar, and so I could punch in whatever I wanted to. Like, if I wanted the keytar to play the X3, then I would just punch in, and I'd have X3. And but you were able to punch in and out whatever keyboard you wanted. It was the coolest thing ever. And you know, and the thing is, I'm very old school. All right, I'm old school in my music. I'm old school in my playing style, and in my outlook on everything is old school. I use technology to a certain point, but I always focus on playing rather not hitting a button and have the button do your playing. I play all the parts and stuff, but I look at everything. When we first started out, basically all we had was organ and piano. And look at all the stuff we got now, and it's amazing. Now a lot of my real cool stuff is in the cave, but what I do for a live rig, I like to keep things light. Being old, and plus I got arthritis real bad. To be honest, with the psoriatic arthritis, I really don't know how long I'm going to be able to play in a band. I got so many health problems. Just like this rig here, if you look at everything, this is set up for my live rig, which is the Gaia Chrome EX61, Chrome EX73, Studio Logic Numa 2X, and then I have, that didn't sound good. Then I have an A500 controller hooked up to the Gaia here. Alright, so if I want to play synthesizer from the left, I can play it from the left, or if I want to play synthesizers from the right, I can play it from the right. I got my vocal harmonizer there in the rack. But the thing is, in all reality, then there's my Prophet 8 underneath, which is Behringer Pro 800, which is a copy of the Prophet 6. I call it the Prophet 8 because you could play 8 voices on it. And so I got all that hooked up. And but in all reality, usually for a live gig, all you're going to see is these 3 keyboards. The Gaia comes off from time to time, you know. And now that I got the Prophet 8, I'll probably be using that a lot. And but basically, this is the live rig, you know. And what I kind of have it set up for is with the Studio Logic. I mainly have it set up for piano. Nice piano. Then if you want to, you can maybe, if you want to kick in a little hybrid. Maybe some strings. Some nice strings, you know. And if you ever need like any Moog, let me see here. I just started so you got some nice stuff like that. And then what's really cool is now we have the Prophet hooked up here, but this is analog, so you should always tune it. So let's kick that in. So right now the Prophet's tuning itself, and she should be done pretty quick. I did a quick tune. Alrighty, and we'll check it. Yep, she's right in. Then I'm using, like on the Prophet, I'm using the Zoom multi-stop effects pedal. That's the MS-70 CDR. Alright, so mainly kind of use this Chrome EX for a lot of the organ stuff. So let's go combi, this bank. If I want some percussion. So just go this. And the way I have this set up is I got a left-hand organ here. Then up here I usually combi, so I could do like a lot of I go usually get some effects, a lot of various things. A little bit more heavier flute, or kick in the Prophet. So I got the both. I could be either. So I could either do both of these, you know. Then if I want a little horn section. Horn sections and stuff. So I kind of use everything in a lot of various different ways, and but it's really cool. Then I have this little thing I made, this box here, where I could let's see. Now here's the Prophet. All right. Now here's an L pad I have set up for the Prophet. So that's because I'm playing here and I'm going to bring a Prophet in. All I got to do is just take my hand and just right there. You see how? have this wired up on a foot switch. So if I'm playing the piano and I want to bring the prop in at a later time, setup. Piano up and down. Then also I'm using this for a so I got this L pad set up as a trim for this. Which kind of, I'm using a Roland volume pedal, and the Roland volume pedal does not like the chord. Alright, and so if I didn't have this L pad doing some trimming, when I'd hit the volume pedal, it would go, it's like a blast, man. It's just so loud. And then they have the little attenuations on the side of the pedal, but the minute you turn it, the volume just shuts off. And both pedals do it. Now, for some reason, with my right foot for the organ, I got a better little bit foot control, and so I really don't need an L pad for that, pretty much. But you know, you look at all the stuff that we grew up with. You know, another piece of equipment I had is the remember the Yamaha electric grands? I had one of those. I used to carry a little tuning arm with me on that, and the Fender Rhodes and the Wurlitzers and Collabs and you know all that stuff. But you know, what's really cool is with a lot of these poly synths now, let me find my collab here. Here we go. Cool, you know, so you got all this stuff at your fingertips now, and it's kind of like, it's cool, but in other ways, you know, I still miss the older stuff because they were so easy to use, you know. But you know, then there was the other stuff growing up in the 70s that they had. Here, let me find one here. Wait, this will be it. I want to kill that. And I believe, yeah, here we go. So what's nice is a lot of these keyboards are romplers. You know, they got the samples like, you know, like the grand piano. kick-ass shit, man. I'm looking for something here. What the hell is it? Yeah, this is cool. Long way. We came a long way, baby, to get where we got to today. And so I'm just kind of feeling a little bit nostalgic. You know, a lot of this stuff is pretty cool. And a lot of stuff I got to learn yet. And, you know, especially with this new Pro 800. Now, one thing I noticed that with the ADSRs and everything, the guy is kind of set up a lot like that. So between learning how to operate this, I'm gaining more experience on this puppy. And so it's been really cool. And hope you guys enjoyed this little nostalgic event and appreciate what you got today, because back in the day, man, we didn't have all this stuff. And really cool. I'm going to be doing an upcoming video. I've neglected my Hammond B3, so I'm going to do something on a B3 for you guys. And so B3 and some Leslie action. So that's coming up. Hey guys, I ask God may bless you all. And you guys keep rocking. And from an old fart like me, take advantage of your youth, man. Because I'll tell you what, when you get older, health issues come up. I can't play like I used to play, man. And so, you know what I mean? Stuff I used to fly on, I can no longer fly on. And so, you know what I mean? Enjoy life while you can and make the best of it. Catch y'all later.